Hi, it's Shona. It's the 7th of February 2025. The world is in turmoil. Elon Musk is in the process of taking over all of the entire computing system of the US government and apparently has the capacity to simply disappear things so that they don't have to have a conversation about them or deal with them. Where to start? I'm not going to go item by item because it's too much, and it's intentionally too much. Everybody's talking about the flooding the zone. I've had a lot of people say, don't overreact. Well, okay, you know what? One of my deep knowledges is who to pay attention to, who understands the system, who is carrying the necessary intuitive knowledge to perceive and understand what's happening in a complex system. And the people who are talking about it now are Heather Cox Richardson, Timothy Snyder, Thomas Zimmer, experts in history and government and totalitarianism. And they are saying, be alarmed, this is a coup, pay attention. So my friends that are saying, oh, it's fine, it'll be all right. What did I say? Heaven hope that you're right and I'm wrong. Like, I would so love to be wrong and for this to be a normal thing. This is not normal. If they wanted to do all of those things, they have control of Congress, they have control of the Senate, they had the power to do all of those things in a regulated and reasonable approach. To say, we're going to wind up USAID. I'm not going to call it AID. USAID, we're going to wind it up. We've got 6 months to wind down your project, and then they could have done an orderly transition. They could have found other sources of funding. They wouldn't have turned off the spigot on HIV prevention drugs to babies. They would have done something that was intentional and responsible. This is an irresponsible abuse of power by people who do not understand the system that they are intervening in. And that is where my expertise is how do people think about the systems? How do they interact with them? How do they reason about them? Do they perceive that other people, other agents, other systems that are extant, that already exist in the world, that are holding some important purpose? You might disagree on that purpose, but they are doing something in the world. And if you just haul them out, there's a void there. And we don't know what falls into the void, but chaos is definitely the result. So, one of my friends asked me yesterday, what's your professional take on this? Because my background is in tech ethics and also like building technical systems, building software. First off, that's not how you modernize a system. You don't just haul it apart, and you don't do it in 5 hours. You do it methodically, even if you're going to use continuous deployment, even if you're going to use Kubernetes, even if you're going to use all the current sexy microservices architecture. You don't just tear it down and say, we'll do without it for 2 years while we build something new. So, from a strictly software engineering perspective, what they are doing is fucked up. Second, still from a software engineering perspective, the people who are building the software and the people who are running the systems on the software are not the same people. You have separations of power in corporations. If we're going to run it like a company, you have separations of power so that nobody can run a con on you, so that you can't commit fraud. You have multiple people who have signing authority, so that there are checks and balances, so that the decisions are made through some kind of process, not just fiat, by one or two people or a tiny group of people who are subordinate to one person's aspirations and goals. So, you can't run one of the largest countries in the history of the world with that size of everything as a startup, run it as a startup. As I saw somebody point out earlier today, most startups fail. So they're doing a crappy job, even if the goal was to modernize the system. And they're don't fall for it. It's a lie. It's a lie. There is nothing going on here that is aligned with the practices of software engineering or business or any of those things. I'm gonna talk about USAID again. Now I'm watching them defund the National Science Foundation, so they're gonna get rid of the last thing I saw was that they were going to get rid of like 2/3 of the National Science Foundation funding. They're killing off everything that makes a country great. They're killing it. So that's not the goal either. They're trying to make the country vulnerable so that they can swoop in and eat up the pieces of it. That is my that's my political and economic analysis, and looking at, like, I know how like power works and how these people think about power. Okay, hold on. USAID, I was going to talk about. So I've been spending a lot of time going back and forth between moderate conservative commentators, and I'm pretty enmeshed in the left wing when they say, oh, these are Marxists. I'm like, no, they're not. I know a lot of Marxists, and none of them have political power. That's the first thing. Like, they're saying the people who are sort of anywhere else in the world, they're moderates who are slightly right of center, and they're claiming that those are Marxists. And I'm like, you can't even see Marxism from where the Democratic Party stands. So, but I've got the moderate conservative commentators, and I've got my like left-wing radicals. I can't go to the right-wing radicals because they don't have any critical comment on this. They're not like talking about how it's being done. They're just like, do it, whatever. We don't care. So, okay, fine. Do it, whatever. We don't care. USAID, the left, the actual left, is saying USAID is a tool of American imperialism. And then it should have disappeared a long time ago, which is interesting. The moderate conservatives are talking about the importance of power, the soft power that's held by the presence of those agencies and the money that flows, and that by preventing the diseases and preventing the starvation and preventing disruption, they kind of isolate the problems. And I'm like, oh, so we all agree that USAID is doing something. And then there's like the surface thing that it is doing, which is providing enormous amounts of medical, and I don't actually know what they do. Honestly, I don't know. This is the thing. I don't know what they do, but neither did Elon Musk. He did not know what role that group played in the US government, in their international position, in the world of keeping things stable. You can't just walk in and go, the hundreds of thousands of person years, probably millions of person years of institutional knowledge that were destroyed because in a 5-hour glance at it, he couldn't figure out what it was for, is the height of hubris. And then I saw, I can't remember, the guy who made Roblox say Silicon Valley built the world, why shouldn't we run it? And I was like, because you don't know how it works. The people who have that degree of power do not understand or see the invisible web of all the labor, all the thought, all the knowledge, everything that they draw upon so that they have a functioning, stable system to extract things from. Like, even if you're an extractivist capitalist, having there be a system that is alive and vibrant that you can extract things from is essential to the ongoing health of your own business. That is why they should not be running the things, because they do not understand the things they want to run. They only see the surfaces of them. They work at a level of abstraction that goes, oh, it doesn't matter if people have food. It doesn't matter if people have shelter. It doesn't matter if people have money. It doesn't matter if somebody will solve those things. There will always be somebody that has all of those things. And it builds in, if you are running a company and you take that attitude, what you're counting on is that other companies will fill those gaps. They will make there be consumers. Somebody will make there be educated people from whom you can draw for your next generation. You can't run a country that way. There isn't somewhere else. There's not some other US from whom you can draw all those things. You destroy your education system, you destroy your sciences, you destroy the people's institutional knowledge, you isolate people and you keep them separate from one another. You lose the entire foundation of what it is that you are trying to extract value from. You destroy the system as a whole. They don't understand the systems that they are touching, and they don't have I see people call them geniuses, and I'm like, they're not. They're working at a particular level of abstraction where they understand how to manipulate other people, and they don't care about the consequences of their actions. It's easy. If you don't believe in law and you don't believe in the consequences of your actions, you don't care what happens to other people, and you assume that somebody else, somewhere else, is going to fix the problems. Yeah, you can get a lot done if you don't care about the consequences of your actions. But you should not be in charge. I used the word governance yesterday, and I said, we need to recognize that governance, governing, literally is like the governor on an engine. You have the ability to control and slow things down. You are in charge of maintaining the stability, of maintaining the structures, in maintaining the knowledge. And yeah, you know what? It's inefficient because it's a living system. Living systems aren't efficient. They are robust. They are resilient. If you try to make a living system efficient, you pull out the things that make it robust and resilient. You can do that as long as you got a company, and when the company dies, another company will come in to fill its place. You can't do that with a country. Well, I mean, you can, but what you're choosing to do is weaken the government of the United States, which will weaken the United States, and other countries will come in to fill the vacuum. If you wanted to make America great again, this is the worst possible thing you could have chosen.